Hi there, and welcome to the Creatives Get Real podcast. I am Roben-Marie Smith.
And I'm Sandi Keene, and these are real conversations about the creative life. Hey, Robin.
Hey, Sandi. This is going to be real conversation about the creative life, right? About life in general,
Yes.
right?
Yes, and it's going to be real time, which is going to be really interesting.
Yes, real time meaning this is the week of Hurricane Dorian. Literally, we are recording this in the midst of sitting and watching and waiting and wondering what's going to be happening.
Yes, and this has been going on for over a week. I evacuated 3 years ago. At least that's what it feels like. I mean, it's been wow, a lot.
Yes, and I've eaten my hurricane snacks and actually gone back to the store twice for more snacks. So
that's the thing, is you get prepared, and
Yep.
then this hurricane has stalled. Horrifically, it has stalled over the Bahamas, and those poor people are dealing with devastation, and
Yes.
and our thoughts and prayers go out to them. We can't even imagine what they're going through. But yes, you prepare, and then a week later it still hasn't come, and your preparations, like you said, you've had to eat them. They've gone stale, and you're like, oh good, I get to go do this again.
Exactly. And I mean, and seriously, there's, on the other note of that, it's there's this level of anxiety and it's uncertainty. It's an unsettling feeling because you can't really move forward with everything because everything's, closed or not open. Kids don't know if they're going to school or not going to school. And you don't really know. You can't just kind of like, okay, pick up tomorrow and life goes on. It's just, it doesn't work that way. But life is like that, right?
It is
that in so many ways. There's lots of things in our life that come at us, whether it's, deaths in the family or financial struggles, or physical, mental things that we deal with, individually. Those are all real things. And we're going to talk today, because it's so timely, about art as therapy, about how that fits into our life to aid us in that.
Absolutely.
Topic for right now.
It is. And like you said, I mean, so many people are dealing with some sort of trauma, whether it's caregiving, it's care managing, it's, having special needs family members, dealing with disease, divorce, you name it. There are a lot of stressors in life these days. So art absolutely is such a wonderful therapeutic device. For me, myself, I find such comfort in repetitive motion of just mark making or stroking with a brush. It just allows you to breathe normally for a few minutes and to worry about things like, will these two colors make mud, instead of, will I have a house to go back to, or will I be living in a tent?
Exactly. Yeah. And you're right. As artists and creatives, we find comfort in that. We like doing it. We enjoy it. It's part of who we are. And so that tearing of paper and just gluing something onto a journal page, or just looking and touching those things that bring us some joy is very comforting. And even tying that in, I know with the Bible journaling movement and incorporating at times, sometimes I find during those times, I'm more inclined to write a little bit more in my journal, where it's like, okay, I want to get some of these thoughts out or these prayers out and put them on paper. And combining it with with art is something that does help me, and it makes me feel a little bit more comforted. But it's also hard, I think, in the middle of these things to actually sit down and do it. Because I think it's the starting that's the hardest part. It's not the fear of I'm not going to be able to create. It's just, I feel so empty right now and so, discombobulated. I love that word. And I just don't even know if I can. But then if I just sit down and just start tearing or gluing or marking with the brush or painting or whatever that is, you kind of start going, all right, I can just kind of be out of that for a little while and find some comfort in that.
Right. Yeah. And the wonderful thing about art also is that we're surrounded by this wonderful community. And it's really nice to have, lots of people from all over the world who are sending you, we're
Yes.
thinking of you, we're
Yep.
praying for you. That is a great comfort. So the community aspect is
Mhm.
enormous as well. But yes, I totally agree with you. What I have found is that, if when I'm under this kind of stress and I need to create, my goal is to create something just hideously ugly, because it takes
Yes.
all the stress off you. It's like,
Yep.
you know what I'm going to do with this? I'm going to rip it up. I'm going to cut it into squares, or I'm going to throw it away. There's no pressure.
Mm-hmm.
My
That's
goal
right.
is ugly. If it's not ugly, great. But ugly is my goal. And, just take all
Yes.
that pressure off yourself and just move things,
Yeah.
like you said, glue
Mm-hmm.
papers together, get out a Sharpie and doodle from
Mm-hmm.
one side of the paper to the other.
That's right. And
Just
it
move.
take your mind kind of away from, whatever is going on at that moment, and just trying to be like, okay, just getting out of your head and thinking of that, and just the mindlessness sometimes of, like you said, doodling or painting or whatever that is. And it's not going to be easy. I mean, there's times when it's like, I just don't have the energy. I barely have the energy to get up, or barely have the energy just to do the things I have to do. But then
Mm-hmm.
that still helps if you can just sit down and just be going, okay, I'm just going to do something. And like you said,
Right.
it doesn't have to be this work of art or anything.
No, no pressure.
Yes, that's right. No pressure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a lot like, how when you've been sick for a long time and you think, if I could just get a shower, I would feel better. But the
Yes,
thought of all that comes, with a shower is like overwhelming.
yes,
But
yes,
once you go ahead, you get in there,
yeah.
even if you need help, and you get that shower, you're like, oh, that feels so much
Yeah,
better.
that's a
It's
great
just,
comparison, because you're right. It's like, oh, I have to wash my hair, and then I have to dry it, and then I got
I
to do
know.
that. And you're just like, oh, I
I'm
just,
gonna have to moisturize and possibly shave, and
yeah,
that's too much.
but that's
But
right.
if you can just get
Mhm.
there, even if it's asking someone for help,
Yeah,
and do that afterwards, you're like, oh yes,
yes. I'm starting to feel more human again.
exactly. And
Yeah.
I feel the same way about picking up a brush and
Yeah.
just loading color on. Don't care what the color is.
Mm-hmm.
Just load it on and smear it on, and then make marks. For me, mark making is very, it's like I breathe along with it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like for the first time, okay, look at that, I took some deep breaths.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's a good thing.
And if you don't feel that you're at a place where you can literally sit down with the supplies and do that, then go into your studio space or your craft room or wherever your space is, and just start organizing. And
Hmm.
sometimes I'll start with that, because I'm just like, I don't have the energy to like really sit down and do art. So I'm just going to reorganize my pens, or I'm going to sharpen my pencils, or I'm going to reorganize the paint, or I'm just going to look at paper. I'm just going to take my papers and kind of organize them. And that actually helps me too, because
Sure.
I'm doing something that my mind can focus on, that's not whatever I'm dealing with. And yet it still feels like I'm with my creativity, even when I'm doing
Yes.
that. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's like
Absolutely.
just sort of like shoulder to shoulder with the creativity. It's like, I'm not ready yet. I don't think I can do that, the art part, but I can be in here kind of rubbing shoulders with my paint and my stuff, and it makes me feel a little bit
Yeah.
better. Mm-hmm.
I love the way you put that. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's just lining up your paint, it's like, hey, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to put them in
Mm-hmm.
rainbow order. I'm going to put them in
Yeah.
alphabetical order. Do something that.
Yeah. And then if you find, hey, okay, then get your phone out and snap some photographs, get a little creative, and just maybe do some photography. That's still a creative exercise. And you can still
Absolutely.
find yourself doing something, even if it's after you organize, taking some pictures. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think that, this is such a fulfilling medium when it comes to, it can inspire others, it can inspire you, but it also can be medicinal. So, yeah, I vote yes. I vote yes to this, and to continue using this
Mm-hmm.
as a way to cope with things that come up.
Right.
Um,
I mean, it's
because
not the end all be all, granted, it's not. There's a time and a place for, needing a lot of other, interventions and
mhm,
assistance and help. But this definitely for those of us that are artists and creatives and makers, it's part of who we are, and it does help. And if you've got someone that you can shoulder up with as well in person, and maybe just, even if you just sit in silence and you
yeah,
create, you don't have to have a whole discussion about anything. You can just be together and create. And there's some kind of a comfort too with just having that like-minded person in the room with you, where
right.
you just kind of know, and it just feels comforting. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and hearing their brush strokes, you
Hmm.
know, it helps as much as hearing your
Yeah.
own. And like you said, you don't even have to talk. Put
Nope.
on some quiet
Hmm.
music and
Yeah.
just sit together, have a
Right.
little snack together.
Okay, so when are you going to come back so we can shoulder to shoulder in the studio? Because
I know. Soon, as soon as
I
this
miss you. Okay.
sting stinking hurricane moves a little bit, I can make it back home.
Yes, yes.
I agree. I would love that as well. So we just want to offer that
Hmm.
as a thought to people when you're going through something, no matter what it is, just to go into your studio and do something. Do
Yeah.
something, even if it is just organizing or taking something, an unfinished project that you're almost done. You just need to add these ribbons,
That's right.
just a couple of things, and then you have that huge sense of accomplishment.
Hmm.
Because a lot of times when you're in this kind of situation, there's a feeling of helplessness
Right.
because you can't change things. I can't go out and move a hurricane. When you're dealing with something, you can't change the situation. So maybe when you can change that little piece of your world just a little bit,
That's
it,
right.
it feels like you have some control somewhere.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Well, we know this was a little bit shorter than our normal podcast episode, but I'm sure you guys can understand what's on our plate right now. And this was kind of on our hearts and our minds just because of what's been going on, around this part of the country. So we just thought this would be a good message just to share. I mean, it's part of being real and being part of the creative life and things that happen. It's not always roses. It's not always awesome.
No, it's
But
not.
finding some time to create, even in the midst of chaos, can be very comforting and give you some, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not being grounded, but just sort of like, yeah, kind of putting something familiar that it's like, okay, this is, yeah,
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 I know how to do this. I
yeah,
do this.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then just reach out to your art community for support. I mean, it is such a
Hmm.
help
Yeah.
to have other people.
And Sandy mentioned earlier, we are just blown away really by all the outreach through Instagram stories and emails and comments about, offering prayers up for all of us. And there's so many, there's still plenty of people even up in the northern East Coast that are possibly going to be affected by this. So we just really appreciate it. That's what we love about this community too, is that even people we've never met, care,
Hmm.
and they're reaching out. And we just really want to thank you guys for that.
Absolutely. We're very appreciative, and we hope to give back when it's your turn to be in some sort of situation. We will be there for you as well.
That's right. That's right.
All right, I think that's a good place to
I
end.
do too.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of Creatives Get Real.
We love hearing from you. So hop on over to Instagram and leave us a comment. And we also appreciate reviews on iTunes.
And you can find me, Sandi Keene, at sandykeene.com, and my classes at popupartclasses.com.
And you can find me, Roben-Marie Smith, at robenmarie.com. And if you're looking for and need tech support, check out my membership site, makerstechu.com.